comes P-Fox being P-Fox at Parker Fox 24, courtesy of Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park. But first...
Yeah, Carboni's Pizzeria, wow, check the spelling on that, is ready to run the floor for your Game 5 playoff party Tuesday night. Swing by one of their 30-plus locations, grab championship-level pizza, and get set for a deep playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's at carbonispizza.com.
First and foremost, it behooves us to thank Kyle and I believe Matthew is the other guy's name, the executive chefs here at Grand Casino Arena. We're at Tria Rink. But they have delivered us, as a distraction factor, Dubai chocolate strawberries, top shelf strawberries, which are going to be available tonight on the main level, section 103. Parker Fox, Eric Nordquist, what do you guys think of the visual and or the edible part of these Dubai chocolate strawberries? And good morning.
Yeah, why don't you go line by line? What is it, a pistachio cream in there, Parker? It looks unbelievable. It apparently tastes unbelievable.
Never had pistachio cream. What's it called? That's what it's called?
I think there's some sort of pistachio cream
it's
there.
The bomb.
With the chocolate and the fresh strawberries.
Yeah, just think edamame. That is sweet, because that's kind of what it's like, right?
Same color, for sure.
Yeah.
Same color. I think they went coconut flakes, strawberry, a little chocolate, and then that cream you mentioned.
Not
it's
edamame.
fantastic.
What's the green clump with sushi?
Wasabi.
Wasabi, thank you.
Yeah.
Just think wasabi, but sweet.
Sweet wasabi. It's a good way to describe it.
Dubai chocolate strawberries. Hey, get your top shelf strawberries with the pistachio cream. Main level tonight, section 103. Well done, executive chefs. You had some fun on Fan Line last night, didn't you, with Guardsy?
Yeah, we sure did. Broke that game down. It was a little worrisome as we got into the third quarter there. Wemby gets ejected, and I mentioned it to Jeff Munichie as kind of we were going into the halftime. I said, what is Chris Finch going to tell this squad? What do you do from the offensive standpoint? Do you change up the way you're playing because Wemby isn't out on the court? You've been practicing that way like he's going to be on the court for the last couple weeks, so you have to find ways to be consistent with what you're going to do. Guardsy and I broke that all down, and it was fantastic. The way Anthony Edwards just showed up in that fourth quarter brought Target Center a lot of energy, and brought me and Guardsy some energy as we wrapped up the post-game show.
Fan Line on KFAN, terrific. Didn't get a hootie-hoo, so you had to adapt, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to adapt. Our guy Max is getting better day by day.
Max was like...
They will be flying. This Timberwolves team has got our back. We know that. We're going to keep winning games, and we're going to be hootie-hooing before you know it.
We need to figure out this mid-court ant trap thing.
Yeah.
You tweeted about it. We saw San Antonio has found a way in very coy fashion to get the Timberwolves. So let's just backtrack for a second. I had a vocal maintenance day. Can't remember why. Nordo put Double T, Trent Tucker, basketball immortality into the mix. I'm listening to the interview. Double T's hitting. Oh, that's right. My son had his wisdom teeth out.
Yep.
And Double T's hitting hard about this trap game that they're playing at a high level. And so then now I'm watching for it every single game. This last game, granted, the team really doesn't have a true point outside of Conley.
Yeah.
But they're finding ways to trap players by the half-court line and also by the baseline. We're picking up our dribble by the baseline too much. Those are no-nos.
Well, those are the corners, and you learn that in kind of fourth or fifth grade is spots that you can't pick up the ball, right? Any corner, if you just get it over half, or if you're on the baseline. So I'm glad you brought that point up there, PA. And I think you got to give Mitch Johnson and the Spurs a lot of credit. They clearly identified the fact that no Dante DiVincenzo, no true point guard. I would have loved to see Mike Conley maybe in those last couple minutes. Just be able to go and kind of set the tempo, set the pace, get the Wolves into an operating spot. But I think it just starts with the fact that you can't initiate your offense where you're initiating your offense.
Yes.
Right? And I think that starts
and
with
the shot clock's running down.
100%.
Yes.
It starts with your mindset, right?
Yep.
So you have to think, I'm going to set the tone. I'm going to apply the pressure. We're going to get to our spots versus allowing San Antonio to put you to the spots where they're trying to put you, and that's where the traps occur. That's where those timeouts occur. So I think if you're the Wolves and you watch that film, you got to say, how can we cut to the ball harder? How can we post up our guy, be physical, catch the ball in spots where we want to operate?
Okay, great having Io back. Ain't no doubt about it.
No doubt.
My man's not completely back, and here's the tell for me: he's not finishing at the rim. the way he was before the calf.
Yeah, he's not the same player he was. He's not the guy that had those 43 points in Game 3. And I think he definitely made some steps from, Game 3 of this series. He plays 30 minutes last night, which is obviously a good sign to see, but 3 of 12 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3 is not numbers that Ayo Dosunmu is going to be happy with. So I think as this series goes on, he's going to have to continue to be big. We highlighted the guard depth, especially that San Antonio has. Their physicality from just a guard standpoint. They go 1 through 3 with just 3 really strong physical guards, and then they bring a guy in Dylan Harper off the bench who's just as strong and physical. So I think if you're Ayo Dosunmu, you're looking at it as we escaped that one with a win, and I got to be better. 3 of 12 is not acceptable for what I want to do, and he's got to run along with Ants. And I think we really missed Dante in this series. I think that's something that I've been able to highlight as well. Just the fact of his defensive presence, his strength, and he's a gamer, man. The Wolves are really missing Dante right now.
The way we're talking about this, it's like we got to remind ourselves the Wolves did win last night, but Julius Randle has been driving me nuts.
Yeah.
And all the turnovers, I was talking to you off air, him backing in towards the rim is a disaster waiting to happen, and he's getting the ball yanked from him, and it can't happen anymore. However, I'm just curious, when you're Julius, is it a humbling experience? Is it just anything to get the team over the hump? Because there was a change. He gets benched in the fourth quarter, comes back, goes from trying to play bully ball almost to decoy. First, he was unbelievable on the defensive end in several spots, and then his give to Rudy in a big spot where earlier in the game, I feel like he's either getting an offensive foul or he's going to miss at the rim, as we've seen, sadly, a little too much at times from multiple players on the Wolves. But in the late spots, there was a sea change. Randle finished the game strong and was a part of the reason they were able to hang on.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the turnovers. He's at 4.5 a game in this playoff series. That's 18 turnovers in 4 games. I think if you were to ask Julius that, he would tell you it's unacceptable, right? He's been around in this league for way too long. He's played for too many great franchise, and he's played with Chris Finch for way too long to know what Chris Finch expects and wants from him. But I think you got to give him credit for the mindset adjustment that he made down the stretch. That was a fantastic pass to Rudy, especially in the moment of that game. We needed a bucket right there. We needed to score. So I think if you're Julius Randle, you got to simplify your game a little bit. I think you got to play with your eyes facing the basket. We've seen so many of those turnovers occur when he goes into that Charles Barkley back down type of move, right? And I mentioned it to you. This is a weird matchup for Julius. There isn't a guy on this San Antonio team where a lot of times Julius, when he's playing against other power forwards, he's able to beat them with his speed, with his lateral and vertical movements. And in this series, he's guarded by kind of shorter, quicker guys, and they're cutting him off and they're forcing him to counter. So when Julius makes those counters, he's got to have his eyes up and he's got to identify where that double team is coming from. Because oftentimes, Nordo, it's not the primary defender. It's that secondary defender that's helping in and causing kind of that ruckus. So if you're Julius, you got to chin it, you got to play strong, and you just got to make the simple one more easy pass.
2 things. How tough is Naz Reid? But we can get to that after. Was there any part of you, Parker, because there was part of me, as far as the penalty 2 and the ejection goes, the elbow from Wemby met with a bullet every piece of that criteria, right?
Agreed.
That's a tough decision to make early in a playoff game, and there was a part of me that was a bit surprised that they did indeed follow through and eject him from the game.
Yeah, so when I first saw it, I clearly saw the elbow. I knew it was going to be a flagrant 1, and then I saw the replay, and you see Wemby look at him. And
with the peripheral vision.
But also, he grabbed the offensive rebound over him, so it's not like he didn't know where Naz was. So the offensive rebound plus the peripheral look out of the corner of my eye, clearly intentional. I was actually kind of dumbfounded that they did upgrade it to a flagrant 2, just given the playoffs, given the fact that it's Wemby. Like, you want to put your best team out on the court. The NBA wants that.
I thought Jaden was going to get a foul on him from behind, right?
He went at him. And good on Jaden, that is, for kind of controlling his emotions in that way. But, Naz Reid's puts his head in there, and he takes that one. And granted, yes, Wemby was probably fouled. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. You can't throw an elbow intentionally at someone's face. We're going to see today if that warrants a game suspension or not. I don't think it will.
11:25, that's Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via X. More conversation about the Wild and make that the Wolves and more when we return to FM 100.3 KFAN, your cash giveaway leader.
Yeah, the Fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a shot at some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. This hour's keyword is rich. The keyword is rich. Now, you're not going to get rich, but you're going to win a little money. How about that? Some bonus bucks with the keyword rich at KFAN.com.
Watching the Wild. This is 9 to noon from the Vox Box on the radio home of the
Yeah, so I was just looking through the social media machine to see if there has been any news with Victor Wembanyama and the elbow and the suspension and the ejection. Subsequently, a suspension. Chris Finch earlier 9 to noon said he absolutely does not expect a suspension in game number 5. I really don't either. There's a lot that goes into this. I mean, do I think he did it purposely? Well, he swung the elbow violently purposely. I don't think with intent to hit anybody in the face.
Yeah.
He's not that kind of guy. I thought he handled the departure with a plum.
Yes.
Where he wasn't, complaining to Zach Zarba or anybody. Freikas didn't break out from it. I mean, a lot of things go into that. He doesn't have a long-standing history of doing that or being that guy. So
I think he asked Harrison Barnes, what's that mean?
Yeah.
When he actually
that was Harrison Barnes?
I think it was, yeah.
He said, what's that mean? And then Harrison said something you could read his lips saying, so I'm ejected? And then he goes, all right. Gets up, daps a couple of people, goes to the locker room.
The one veteran that the Spurs have on their bench, right? He goes
bro, when Harrison scored a basket in the fourth quarter after we had that bad third quarter, I'm like, damn, now Harrison Barnes is scoring. We're in trouble. Seriously.
No, you're right. You're exactly right.
Have we stopped with the Keldon Johnson accolades for Sixth Man of the Year?
I was just about to go there with you.
I can't watch him.
I was just about to go there with you. 15 minutes last night. We'll get up to 17 minutes. He was 2 for 4, and that's your Sixth Man of the Year.
I mean, you can't. It's like in the horse racing game. You can only take, the animals they put in front of you, and you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Same thing with this race between him, Jaime Jaquez, and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the worst Sixth Man of the Year race I think I've ever seen watching basketball. But God bless Keldon. I mean, did he win it?
He did win it.
He won it.
Yeah.
Wow.
63.
God bless Keldon. He might get to the Western Conference Finals. Now, you being a big man, Wemby and being transcendent. I'm going to get more deeply into this tomorrow. It was fun researching it, comparing it to Wilt Chamberlain, who I think he came into the NBA in 59 and left in 73. And then Jabbar came in, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 69 and left like mid-80s.
Yeah.
Well, it's transcendent is so overused these days with you never hear it with players who are playing, but they'll be like Jeremiah Love, running back from Arizona, has the potential to become a transcendent back.
Yes.
Speaking of transcendent backs, Adrian Peterson, I saw on the social media bit, was just named to the Vikings Ring of Honor.
Let's go.
So he's going to join the Ring of Honor.
All day.
Why was Adrian transcendent? Because he played like Barry Sanders and Jim Brown for the first time in like decade and change or whatever, and more than that for Jim Brown. So he was a transcendent player. In the NBA, they're hard to find. Jordan was great, sure, but LeBron plays like him. There has to be something physiologically different in comparison to your opponents. Wilt went against a bunch of 5'6" guys. Kareem had the sky hook. Nobody could stop.
Nope.
And nobody could stop it.
No.
And he had to be 7'3" to get there.
Yep.
With Wembanyama, what got me over the hump with this, okay, you can throw the lob down low, but you could do that to Yao Ming, Manute Bol, Chuck Nevitt. There are a lot of players you could do that with. But the thing, I went back and looked at how San Antonio had beaten Oklahoma City 3 or 4 times. And then I looked at OKC's free throws, like how many times they get to the line. Mid-pack kind of surprised me. And San Antonio, from a three-point shooting standpoint, yeah, they can hit it when they got J. Will playing, but they don't predicate themselves on shooting threes.
No.
They are a mid-range team that likes to get to the basket. Wembanyama, man, when he's close to the basket, he takes away the rim and the mid-range game because of how fast and long he is. He's a transcendent talent, don't you think?
I completely agree, and I think at 7'4", maybe 7'5", with an 8-foot wingspan, his jumper looks about as smooth. The wrist action, where the elbow is, just like the basics of shooting a basketball. We always talked about shooting it out of a telephone booth and holding that gooseneck follow through. It looks about as pretty as I've ever seen, and the fact that he's shooting it so well from 3 at about 35% this year just shows you that there's never been a guy that ever has done that. Kristaps Porzingis might be one guy that we talked about off the air that was able to stretch it and, stretch the floor a little bit. But
injuries, though.
But he's not doing the career that Victor Wembanyama is doing. He's not the shot blocker that Victor Wembanyama is. So I think there's so much great that we're going to see from Wemby. I hope he stays healthy because, as big men, their feet start to hurt, their knees, you get a little elbow in. Like, there's always something when you're that, long and strong that's going to happen to you. So I'm really excited to see his career. I think he's got the opportunity to be one of the all-time greats, top 10 player of all time if he trends the way he's trending right now.
Whether it was when Wemby was ejected or game one in that victory, you're thinking, how do you get to that hoop intelligently? Because the big man's in there.
Yeah.
But there's an option there, and especially in last night, when Wemby went out, it's like, get to the freaking rim.
I know.
What can we do better, Parker, potentially, to stop this tidal wave of guards? I mean, Dylan Harper now, Dylan Harper sparing, learning his way as a rookie. He looked like a 10-year all-pro vet last night.
He was great.
Castle, how suave and smooth he can be, specifically when he's basically fouling the defensive player with that elbow out, but I think the refs are getting wise to it. How do we stop this onslaught of guards? I mean, De'Aaron Fox, we all know him, but these kids, man, they are fantastic.
And De'Aaron was hitting some circus shots last night.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of a multifaceted type of question, right? From the guard standpoint, I think you got to defend. You got to show up and you got to guard your yard. You have to stop the initial action. I think so many times when it comes to a guard-heavy lineup, they'll pick and probe one or two moves, and then after that, they'll give it up and they'll go to the next guy. So if you do your job, if you guard your yard, we always talked about it. You got a yard to your right and you got a yard to your left. If you're able to guard that space, you're able to be successful on the individual ISO defense. But then when you add Wemby to the equation, it becomes a little different, right? You add that ball screen action. Talk about a guy that can roll to the hoop and you can throw lobs to the freaking stratosphere to him and he'll go up and get it. Or if he's not rolling, he'll pop out, and that's where the trouble really comes, right? Because then that next defender, they have to play in the gap. They have to decide, am I going to go to Wemby and close out and I'm going to make that backside guy guard two people, or am I going to stay in that gap? Am I going to stunt and recover back to my guy? There's a lot that the Wolves teams need to kind of just be a little better at it, that weak side action, whether that's an X out, whether that's extra effort. Sometimes we see two Wolves defenders go to the ball versus one guy go to the ball, the other guy go to that next pass in the corner. And I think that's something you'll see in film and you'll clean up.
Yeah, it worried me a bit last night. And again, we're talking like we lost. The team won. Loving it. Tied going back to San Antonio. Let's do this thing. Yeah. But to that end, there were moments last night, and Jaden was in much better position last night foul-wise than he had a couple previous.
Game 3, shot 5 of 22.
Yeah, but Jaden, from a defensive standpoint, the strength of Castle, the strength of Harper, they're getting to the rim, and you're talking about defending. And the finish and the foul is just, I don't know if that's art, if that's talent, or we need to defend more differently, but that has been consistent through this series. These young guys getting the and one opportunities, putting us in tough spots on the foul list.
Well, we'll be defending and or executing offense differently than the final three quarters last night. Why? Because Shams Charania just tweeted, there will be no further discipline for Spurs star Victor Wembanyama after he was ejected for elbowing Naz Reid, Minnesota, Sunday night. Sources tell ESPN. No suspension, no fine. Wemby will play Game 5 against the Timberwolves on Tuesday night in San Antonio.
And I think that's the right deal. I'm sure they looked over it, they reviewed it. Wemby doesn't have a past of elbowing guys. I think he was frustrated. I think there came to a moment where
Draymond's getting a game or two.
Yeah, definitely.
Wemby went pear-shaped.
Yeah, he went pear-shaped, and he made a decision that I'm sure he regrets. He let his team down in that second half without him being out there on the court. And the defense becomes different, right? You have to defend without fouling. It's such a skill, and you look at good guards, especially in the defensive end, not only are they good in the initial action, they know how to wall up and just play found fundamental defense.
Okay, so off Nordo's question, I want to hit on a couple of those players, those guards he mentioned. I'll just lay it out in cursory fashion. What do you think of Stephon Castle's game?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that I watched a lot in college. Obviously, I played while he was playing. He's very strong. He's about as strong as it comes when it comes to a guard. He doesn't shoot the rock the way that he probably needs to if he wants to kind of move his career along, especially from just the ability to prolong a career once that athleticism goes away. But he's got a really good slow step. He plays physically on defense. I think he's a really good lead guard in the NBA.
And secondly, you tried to get me off what I think is a bad take.
Okay.
weeks, if not a month and change ago. And they got to play their careers, okay? And the Charlotte Hornets just went to the playoffs, so Con Knippel got an opportunity to see how it feels. Dylan Harper's getting an ability to see how it feels this year.
Yep.
Con plays with LaMelo Ball, who he's a wild card. I mean, it's tough to play. It looks like sometimes it's tough to play with LaMelo.
Yeah.
Where Dylan's playing with a more structured situation at Wemby. But I can't conclusively say. Remember, it was, hey, the Spurs took Dylan Harper. Imagine if they had taken Con Knippel, because they're not a great three-point shooting team.
No.
Even though they led the NBA in corner three makes.
Yeah.
They were the most lethal corner three team because everybody collapses to Wemby, and that's where Champagny and some others will hit those wide-open threes.
Yeah.
But they ain't a great three-point shooting team. Dylan Harper has an opportunity to be the absolute bomb off the dribble with the hands on defense, and shooting needs to improve from outside where Knippel has him there. What do you think of that?
Well, and I think you're exactly right. I think if you took this team and you switched Dylan Harper and Con Knippel, it would be better for right now, but it wouldn't be better for the long run.
And that's what the take was, right?
De'Aaron Fox is on the back half of his career. He's going to be the head. He's going to be the lead point guard of this Spurs team as they go on throughout their, and how about the fact that he has Greg Popovich in his ear all the time, teaching him what to do. I think Dylan Harper's got a really bright future.
Well, he was a minus 14 last night. Not all his fault, obviously. And defensively speaking, he needs to be better.
Yeah.
Con Knippel, is not making some of the Bruce Bowen blush when he watches him play. They're both fantastic. It was top to bottom, man, with VJ Edgecombe, the kid from Baylor, Cooper Flagg, obviously. I mean, it was a maybe top heavy, but really, really nice rookie class.
It was, and I think we're going to see even more from guys like Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, as their team gets better, as you get draft picks, you bring even more young guys in. The future is bright for some of these young stars in the NBA.
All right, P. Fox, just give us your best 30 on how Taylor and the Frost win Game 5 in Montreal.
Yeah, winner go home for both teams. Game 5 of a best of 5 series. It's going to be physical. It's been a game that this team knows. They know the other team, right? They know exactly what's going to get thrown at them. A little fun fact for you: there hasn't been a home team to win a series yet in the PWHL's history.
Wow!
So signs point to Minnesota tonight.
Right, and now, I mean, they were handpicked to play.
Yeah.
This team. I mean, I know it's talked out. Such a cool bit. But I agree too. But tonight is the final. All right, dog, you wanted us?
Yeah.
Well, now there's no tomorrow, and you got us.
Lay it all out there.
There was tomorrows before, Yep. You're the bomb. Tell Taylor, best of luck from yours truly.
You bet.
Love you, too. God bless.
God bless.
Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24. Let's close the radio show by going out Denver way and chatting with the voice of Ball Arena. The white zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only. It's the Vox of all Voxes, ever to Vox, joining 9 to noon next.
It was a fun weekend on The Fan.
Now, we close the radio show from the Minnesota Wild's morning skate at Tria Rink. In the business, we call it Vox in the Box. With the Vox of all Voxes, ever to Vox. He is Slayton, Minnesota's Alan Roach at Mile High Roach via X, and he's also the voice of Ball Arena. Alan, good morning. We got you another game of mailbox money. Vox, what do you think about all that?
It's very selfish of me to want this series to go to 7 games so that I can do 4 of those games at home. So, I got to be careful what I wish for, but the series is great. Why would you not want to see more games?
Well, I mean, from an Avs fan standpoint, the series was absolutely great. And I would imagine, as if I'm an Avs fan, if I'm Vox of all Voxes ever to Voxing that high-end hockey as long as you have, or if I play for the Avs, I'm not feeling a ton of pressure right now. But if the Wild happen to win this evening from 2-2, it's hockey, man. It probably could go any way, right?
Yeah, I mean, a best of 3 is a lot different than a best of 7. And like you said, the Avs don't have any pressure, right? They just lost their first game of the playoffs. They were 5-0 prior to that. There's no pressure on the Avalanche. The pressure is still fully on the Wild. If the Avs take a game from Minnesota, the old adage, it's not a series till somebody wins on somebody else's ice. Mm-hmm. If if that happens tonight, you come home, the Wild are faced with having to win 3 games in a row. So, I mean, the pressure and the need to win is much greater on the Minnesota side than the Colorado side. But yeah, the Avs don't want to flirt with disaster either. You don't want to turn it into a 3-game series. And it's interesting. The biggest question that came out of was it Saturday night, whatever, forget the day, Saturday night's game. The biggest question for Avalanche fans and all the talker is, well, now who's going to start in goal? Who's going to be the goaltender? Do you go with Wedgwood? Do you go with Blackwood? And, you know, I'm very far from ever second-guessing anything Jared Bednar knows or does. He made the right decision. But by making that decision, that's what set the narrative. It's not about, oh, man, they lost, what's going wrong? It's, okay, do we have a goalie controversy now?
Well, when they pulled Wedgie, did you find that to be so sad?
Yeah, I really like Scott Wedgwood as a human being. The things he does with kids around the rink prior to each game during warm-up, and just the way he handles himself in the media and does things in charity events. I mean, he's just such a great guy. And many of the Avalanche are, not saying that Blackwood isn't, but I was surprised. I thought 3-0 was early to pull your goalie, but again, I'm not second-guessing anything because my hockey knowledge is not even in the same, not even on the same planet as Jared Bednar.
Hey, Vox, for games at Ball Arena, do you ever double-check your Ball Arena mic to make sure it's off and start chanting, Wedgie, Wedgie? You ever do that?
Yeah, the two chants are Wedgie and Blackie. Blackie and Wedgie, Wedgwood and Blackwood. And as to answer your question, in my profession, and I guess you're different because you're wearing a headset during radio, you constantly know that your mic is on unless you push a button. For me, it's the opposite. My mic is never on unless I push a button. But there are times that I can leave that microphone on. So, yes, I check my microphone about every 30 seconds to make sure it's on or off.
At Mile High Roach, Vox of all Voxes, ever to Vox, voice of U.S. Bank Stadium. Oh, that's right. The NFL schedule comes out this week. That's always an exciting time, right, Vox?
It's an exciting time, and it can be a very sad time for me. It can be an exciting time because there are how many international games this year? Paris and Australia and Germany and London and Spain. I think it goes on and on. If the Vikings are at home, I am very happy to stay home and do those games. I want to do every Viking game in U.S. Bank Stadium like I have for 10 years.
Yes.
But if the home Viking game falls on the weekend that the NFL plays in Paris, jeez, I have to explain to my wife why I'm not taking her to Paris.
Oh, wait a second. So you're going to do the Vikes game and not go to Gay Paris?
Yeah, that's the way it's worked every year. I made that agreement with the Vikings is I wouldn't miss a game, and
that's awesome.
And
huh?
You know, I don't lament that decision, but schedule release day, much like last year, is a kick in the you name whatever you'd like when I'm not able to do 4 of the 5 international games because it conflicts with 4 Viking home games. So, I want to do the Vikings, and that's number one in my heart, number one in the Vikings' heart as well. But it would be really sad to not be able to go to Paris for a week, too.
Hey, Vox, with the Wild, what if our goalie has become the Wall of St. Paul and you guys just can't figure him out? What do you think about that?
Do you want me to start asking you what-if questions? What if Nathan McKinnon turns into Nathan McKinnon suddenly and has 8 points in the next 3 games and you guys are done?
The white zone is from... Okay. Have you ever punched an authority in the face and received no repercussions like old Parker Kelly?
He got him right in the face, too, didn't he?
That was a good one.
That was good.
All right, brother. God bless you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy the game tonight. I'm sure we'll call you later in the week. All right, Alan?
Yeah, let's talk on Wednesday before, I don't know, what could be a very pivotal game or what could be a very dangerous game for your beloved state of hockey.
Thank you very much, Voxy. Have a good day.
All right.
Alan Roach at Mile High Roach. Thank you, Max Fuller. Thank you, Nordo. Wild and Av, 7 o'clock tonight, KFAN. That's Box in the Box. May God bless you and all of your families. Bye-bye.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
From the